Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Tanya, and today I thought we would propagate some coleus together. So if you're new here, I garden in zone 5B/6 just outside of Chicago, and while the sun is finally shining, it is a blustery day out there. So I thought we would spend the day indoors propagating some coleus and getting some more annuals ready to plant out when the winter season is finally over. So let me show you this one coleus plant that I've overwintered successfully on my windowsill, and it's doing well. It's not as bushy as I would like, but let's take a look and hopefully I can get it to grow a little bit more. So this is the Albrido coleus from Proven Winners. It has overwintered successfully. It is not as bushy or bright as I would like, but it is doing okay surviving considering I'm not able to offer it as bright of light as I would like. Here you can see how much brighter the leaves are because this side has been exposed to sun and I haven't turned it as often as I should have. So you can see how much the sun really impacts the color of this foliage. It's just beautiful. So I'll be taking cuttings of this, and I have typically overwintered coleus and propagated them just by taking cuttings and placing them in water. But I thought today it would be fun to experiment with root hormone by taking cuttings and dipping it in there. So let's do that together. Let's get this downstairs in the seed room and get to work. So you can see this plant is pretty massive. It's grown fairly nicely over the winter. And so I'm pretty pleased with it. So we'll be taking cuttings all over from this plant, and I have a few other coleus here that are just beautiful as well. We'll be propagating those too. Let's take a look. This coleus here is the Proven Winners Ridiculous coleus. Is this not stunning? I mean, look at this red foliage. I have another one back here that is actually pushing a bloom right there. I mean, it is just spectacular. It is the deepest, most vibrant red, and I absolutely love this plant. So we'll be taking cuttings of this today and rooting it in and seeing how successful this is. It's so interesting. As the foliage grows and it's not exposed to as much light, it emerges this very bright chartreuse green and then deepens to this vibrant dark red. It's really stunning. Over here is my corner of already propagated coleus that I've taken cuttings of and propagated over the past few months. These are mostly the Albrido variety. Here is one ridiculous. It is going through a bit of a shock when I transplanted it. It is a little stressed, but I think it will recover. And so yeah, I just want to get as many of these as possible propagated so I have a really good selection of coleus to choose from when I'm putting my summer annual containers together and when I'm planning my annuals for the landscape. But before we do that, I wanted to give an update on my seedlings. Check out these geraniums, Apple Blossom Maverick geraniums that are just beautiful. They are really coming along, pushing a ton of new growth. This one is struggling just a little bit. We'll see if it makes it, but overall, I am really pleased. I mean, they are just going for it. They are being fertilized about once a week at half strength with Miracle-Gro fertilizer, and they're responding really well. So once these flowers start pushing blooms, I will cut away the blooms because right now I want the plants to focus on foliage and root development. I really want them to grow large quickly, so I'll be clipping off those blooms when they emerge. Really happy with these. Down here are my verbena starts. The verbena has taken really nicely. I'm really happy with this. I had to actually take out a few seedlings from one cell and transplant them, and they transplanted beautifully. So I'm really happy about that. Over here are my onions. These desperately need to go outside. I'll be doing that this week. Our temperatures are finally warm enough. They are looking a little stressed. They need to just get out of their containers and get into the ground. So these were started in mid-January. They now really need to get out and just be planted and be outdoors. And these are seeds that I started just a few days ago, actually. These are all Cosmos here on the left-hand side, and they are just doing great. This is the seashell and apricot variety. as well as the sensation. So they are loving it. I'm going to be removing the humidity dome here. It looks like everything has germinated. I have a bunch of Swiss chard here in front, kohlrabi and cabbage. Now I'm noticing the cabbage is a little late to come up, but it is coming up. It's going for it. So that's pretty exciting to see. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this humidity dome right now, actually. And now these plants can really thrive. So I'm right around 8 to 10 weeks before my last frost date. I probably planted the cosmos a little early, but if I have to pot them up, that's okay. I just wanted kind of larger, more established plants as we head into the growing season. And down here, I just started a whole tray of anise hyssop. This is also a variety that I winter sowed outside. I really just want to have a ton of these plants to choose from. So hopefully they will germinate here soon. And over here are my peppers. My peppers have not yet germinated. Oh, look at that. They've come up. I'm very excited to see these. These seeds were actually pretty old. I was very concerned about their viability, but that is really exciting to see. Those are the Granbell sweet peppers. Here are the California Wonder peppers. So that is great. These are on a heat mat, so they are at right around 75 to 85 degrees. Really nice and cozy and warm in there. So that's great to see. Down here, I've gone ahead and sown aster as well as ageratum. Look at that. I've already got germination. That is only 2 days worth. That's really exciting to see. I can see little green sprouts coming up. So that's great. Ageratum is a beautiful, very delicate blue annual flower, and it's just beautiful. And the asters here, these are the tall purple variety from Johnny's Seeds. So let's dive into our propagating project now. I've got my nursery containers ready to go, my gardening tray, I have some potting soil, and my rooting hormone. This is from Take Root, Garden Safe. It's from Amazon. I've never purchased this before. It did get pretty good reviews. So I'm hopeful that this will be successful in rooting in coleus in mass. That's kind of my goal, is to really root in quite a bit of cuttings just to prepare, again, for annual season and planting coleus in mass in my garden. One tip I learned about rooting hormone is that really a little goes a long way, and actually that too much can damage cuttings. So I'm going to be mindful of that as I'm taking clippings of the plant and dipping them in this powder. All of these cuttings will be going under grow lights in my little coleus section. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the camera, set up these nursery pots, and show you how I'm going to take the cuttings. Okay, so here we have our Albrido coleus. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the undergrowth areas that I think are kind of leggy. I'm going to be cutting those away and using those as cuttings because they aren't really doing much for the plant anyways. This is a really good example right here. This one I can see is kind of reached for light because it wasn't exposed to the ideal light conditions. So I'm simply going to cut it directly at the base where that node meets it. And then to prepare it to dip into the cutting, I'm going to go ahead and strip away all of the leaves. Anything that will be underneath the soil, I'm going to go and pick away and then give it a fresh cut. And I want to make sure that the end is slightly moistened before dipping it into the root hormone. So I've gone ahead and filled up one of these nursery containers right here, just with plain potting soil. And I have my mister here, so I'm going to spray this end lightly. So that way the tip of it is pretty moist. Then I'm going to just go ahead and dip and twirl this in there a few times. I'm going to tap off the excess. And then I'm going to go and submerge that into the potting soil. So everywhere that a leaf node exists right here will actually grow to become roots. So I'm going to try to get this down as far as possible into the soil without damaging the stem. And then when I do that, I'm going to water it in. And then hopefully it will go ahead and take root and have a little life in it. right now. It's looking a little droopy. I'm going to go and fill the soil up just a little bit more to ensure that this leaf node is covered with soil. Okay, there we have it. It's as simple as that. So now I'm going to go ahead and water this in. And that's our first one, and this will go under the grow light. I'm going to cut a bunch more cuttings off here, get them planted, and then we'll take a look at all the ones that we've cut. Okay, I've gone ahead and pre-filled my nursery containers. These were given to me by a friend, but you can often find these for free on Facebook Marketplace. People just want to get rid of them. So if you don't happen to have these on hand, check out Facebook Marketplace. Oftentimes you can get them for free or next to nothing. So this is just, again, plain potting soil. It does not have fertilizer in there yet. I will fertilize these as soon as these have rooted in, and I think that they've really established themselves. I don't want to shock the plant so much or the cuttings so much yet. That's why I'm just focusing on the root hormone, and this is a nice, well-balanced potting soil that has a lot of nutrients built into it already. All right, I've gone ahead and cut away all my cuttings here that I felt like were kind of the leggy ones and really just ones that weren't adding a lot of volume to the existing plant. So I'm going to go ahead and spray these all down with my mister just to make sure that they're nice and moist. And then what I think I'm going to do is actually take a few cuttings and place them in one pot. That way the plant, when it grows into kind of a full looking pot that would look as if you purchase it from a nursery, basically ready to plant out and pretty mature already. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this in, making sure again to submerge it all the way in, covering up all those areas where the leaf node is exposed. And then I'll do that for another one here, picking up all the leaves. And I have to kind of poke my finger into the soil. I don't want to break the stem. You can also use a pencil if you don't want to stick your finger in the soil, just to kind of make that hole, and then you can slide the cutting right in there. And I think I will put one more in here. Again, my goal is to kind of have a full plant that looks as if it's, just been purchased from the nursery that's ready to be planted out. And then I will grow these under grow lights here in my basement until our last frost date, which is usually right around early to mid-May, depending on the season. Okay, there we have it. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go and water this in now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and fill this one up as well. Just going to go and use this pencil right here, make 2 more holes. Strip off these leaves. And you can really do this with most plants, by the way. You can do this with geraniums, any other plant. You can take cuttings and propagate them. Most respond pretty well. There are a few that might not be able to handle it as well as others, but Coleus can handle propagation pretty well. And this is a plant that I purchased last year at the nursery, and I've overwintered. So if I can continue to propagate this on my own for my own personal use and just to continue to multiply that, that's just a fantastic way to extend your dollar in your garden. This root hormone was not expensive. It was maybe $8 or $10. And it should last me quite a while. There's a generous amount in the container. There we go, another one. So they do look a little limp at the moment, but I expect them to perk up here fairly soon as I place them under the grow lights and just let them kind of get settled into their new home. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So next up, we have the ridiculous coleus. I'm pretty happy with the amount of the albrido coleus that I have. I have 10 so far that I've propagated. And now I want to focus on taking cuttings of these. So I'll be focusing on kind of some of the undergrowth here and really just kind of clipping away strategically as I make these cuts. I don't want to really impact this beautiful bushy area here because it's just so gorgeous. So I'm going to see what I can gather from some of the side shoots here, and hopefully it will fill out. So this one right here looks like a good candidate. I'm going to go ahead and clip this one. It has many small leaf nodes, so you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and strip these away and spray it with my water here just to dampen it, and then dip it right into the root simulator. And hopefully the powder here kind of gets into every single crevice. I'm really excited to have a lot of these on hand. I think this is just such a gorgeous plant, and it offers so much to the landscape when planted in mass. So that's kind of my plan, is to really kind of utilize this annual that I purchased last year and hopefully kind of stretch it as far as I can. Now, one thing I did read when researching propagating plants is that the plants should not have blooms on them. So I don't want to pick any coleus that might have a bloom coming up. I want to make sure that it's not in any stage of bloom or pre-bloom. Here again, I'm just going to go ahead and pull away these leaves. And in my experience so far in propagating coleus is that they do take pretty well. They are pretty quick to establish themselves in containers. Now, granted, I have only done this with water. I've never used the rooting hormone, so I don't know how they're going to respond. My hope is that they respond as well as they do in water, but they seem to be pretty resilient plants, kind of able to handle a little bit of shock to their system. And especially under grow lights, they seem to also do very well. Bring this off with soil. That way these are nice and secure in there. All right, gonna go ahead and water this in. And there we have it. That, I mean, already just looks absolutely stunning. Look at that. I'm so excited. All right, let's do this. Here is this next plant that I have, the ridiculous. I mean, it is just gorgeous. It is full and bushy. This is exactly what you want with a coleus. It just has that foliage all the way from the bottom of the stem all the way to the top. It's just breathtaking. So here I'm noticing that I have quite a few stems here that are about to bloom. They're about to push these beautiful purple blooms. I definitely don't want to cut on these. Basically, you want to take blooms that are not, or take stems rather, that are not about to bloom, that are kind of just pushing the foliage. That makes it ideal for cuttings. all in all, I am pretty happy with the amount that I've propagated so far. So I have 5 of the Albrido, 6 of the Ridiculous. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'll probably continue to propagate as my mother plants grow, so I can just have that many more annuals to choose from when I plant these outside. And I think these two go really nicely together. The dark red with this beautiful pink, it's just gorgeous. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and place all of my cuttings underneath this grow light here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and place them in a little rows. I think they'll be really snug here and secure. I'll place the larger ones towards the back. And these seem to be doing really well. This one here is stressed a bit. It was in water and I placed it directly in the soil. So I'm hoping that it rebounds. I don't know that it took very well. It looks like it's just now rebounding. Look at how much this one has grown. Just under grow lights. It's done beautifully. This was a very small cutting when I started off with. Okay, here they are all snug in their new homes. They'll live here for the next few months until our last frost date passes, but I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I got this project done, and I'm super excited to see how these grow. This was such a fun project to do. It's so great to get these little tasks done in preparation for the growing season, especially something as easy as propagating. I mean, it's like getting a bunch of plants for free. It's just wonderful. So let me know if you do this as well at home. I'd love to hear about different propagation techniques you use and what you propagate. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.